And I'm LaShonda. It's one hard name to remember. It is and it isn't. Like, you'll know it when you see it. And I'm in history. And I will definitely pay attention to what you're doing. Because I was excited when Simon, have you met Simon? I was excited when Simon started the project. I was like, I want to be a part of that because like classical music, but also now I'm an historian, so it's like this is right up my street. I want to see how they combine and sort of think about the way to bring like.
Thank you all so much for coming along today. Please do feel free to grab a plate and take a seat anywhere in the room. A big thank you to our amazing musician in the front of the room, Pointy. Just a little bit about Pointy. Pointy Zhang is a PhD student at the University of Birmingham. She plays a traditional featured Chinese instrument with over 2,000 years of history known as the Zhang. She loves to compose and jam with others, and you'll see a little bit more of that very shortly. Can we give a huge round of applause to Pointy? So, hello everyone, I'm going to be sat over here and I'm very much connecting everyone that's going to be performing and making sharings throughout the day today. Before I start, I just want to say a huge thank you to BCMG and University of Birmingham and SAMPAD. The three organisations have come together to present to you a piece called Roots and Roots. Now, when we gathered in this room a few days ago, we did not arrive with a script. We arrived with memories, with accents tucked between our teeth, with stories we weren't always sure we were enough to count as art. We wanted to bring you stories of pioneers and individuals who paved paths, but quickly realised that we are all here in the present, aiming to pave a path that others may follow. We are here in the present, dealing with the matters of today that still find a way to intertwine with where we came from before. We are here in the present to present what we hope is a present to you and ourselves. Through conversation, laughter, music, movement, we started shaping something together. I am simply passing a baton between the storytellers in this room, but we hope it sets alight a torch that you will carry after today. Because what we've explored wasn't just techniques or craft, it was the deeper stuff. Belonging, identity, that third space, that in-between place where many of us live every day. We spoke about where we've come from, our families, our cultures, our languages, the things that make us unique and the things we were sometimes taught to hide. We named the barriers we grew up with, barriers of race, of class, of gender, disability, and that invisible weight of not seeing ourselves in the spaces that we dreamed of entering. We talked about equality, how neat it sounds, and equity, which knows that not all journeys start from the same ground. We spoke about the world that we're navigating now, post-Brexit, rising nationalism, a time where flags can feel like welcome signs to some and warning signs to others. Yay! And how all of this has shaped our own confidence, our belonging, and the routes we felt we were allowed to take. And still, here we are, a room full of writers, musicians, dancers, performers, directors, people who chose creativity even when it was not the sensible path. People whose roots into the arts have rarely been straight, whose roots run deep across countries, cultures, generations, and who bring all that richness into every word, every note, every step. What we've made together isn't a tiny showcase. It's a constellation, voices, rhythms, memories woven together with courage and curiosity. This is Roots and Roots, our collective offering. And now is my honour to hand over to our first voices. Onto the stage, can I please welcome David Austin Gray and Melinda Maxwell. Now, as as they come up, let me just tell you a little bit about them. David Austin Gray is a composer and pianist. He has collaborated with Birmingham Royal Ballet and the Grammy Award-winning US band Snarky Puppy. As well as kicking ass on the piano, he is also a black belt taekwondo instructor. And Melinda Maxwell is a musician, composer, teacher, improviser, specialist in the oboe. Melinda has played in the hottest climate in India on an instrument that has never been played on before by a woman. The instrument was called the Nagaswaram, and I'm so excited to see what they present. tell us a little bit more about this piece that you've composed?
Yeah, of course. Sure.
Thanks, Abby. It's a piece that I wrote in dedication to my grandma. It's called Ethelyn, which is my grandma's name. And she lived a very long, interesting, joyful, dramatic life. And it was a big part of my childhood and growing up, big part of the family life. And she was born in Jamaica, and she came over here in the 50s. My dad and his brothers, or his elder brother at least, followed shortly afterwards and settled in Birmingham. And yeah, she was a huge part of my life, a big fan of music, singing in the church, and that piece of music I want to write in dedication to her, as in memory of her, and every time I play it, it just sort of helps me feel connected to my grandma, really, and just, that's it.
And just to say, today we are going to be asking you all to connect with us, to answer some questions, to join in on our Mentimeter. So if you've got a smartphone and you connect to the internet, please go on menti.com, join that, because we've got a few questions that we'll be asking of you and asking our artists too. But before I move on to that, and to give you some time to log on to that, David, can you just tell us about your route and your entry into the world of music?
So I've always loved music from a young age. I've always had music in the house. My mum and my dad, they don't play music, so it wasn't that sort of direct link of seeing somebody playing music. But for some reason, I don't know why, when I was very young, maybe like 4 or 5, I kind of said to my mum and dad, I'd like to play the piano, I'd like to play the keyboard. My mum and dad thought, okay, let's see. And they got me a little keyboard, thinking maybe I'd get bored of it after a couple of weeks or months or whatever, and I just didn't get bored. So here we are, still playing a keyboard. Not that one. That would have been too big for me back then. But yeah, my parents were big music, or are big music fans, and a lot of music growing up in the house, a lot of reggae, soul, a lot of jazz, but all sorts of music, classical music as well, and pop music and rock and things, and blues. And I just heard those sounds. I used to go and dig out CDs from my dad's record collection and sort of find a way to play them in my spare time and dig out that. This might mean nothing to some of the young people, but the CDs used to have little booklets in them with the liner notes, things called liner notes, and you could open the booklet and it would tell you everything about the CD, where it was recorded, who played on the CD and all that sort of stuff. And I used to kind of dig that out and enjoy finding these connections between musicians and connections between people who were playing music. And yeah, it just led me into this journey of playing, and I went on to study at Birmingham University and Birmingham Conservatoire, and then just found myself in the world of jazz and improvised music, and made some great connections here in Birmingham. I'm sure many of you know that there's an amazing music scene here in Birmingham, amazing jazz scene, and amazing alternative music scene as well. So if you're making music in this city, there's definitely people you can connect with, and there's ways to kind of share and learn from other people. So I've kind of been on that journey. It's taken me to where I am now. I'm very happy to be making music and playing music and learning every day and meeting new people.
Thank you so much, David. I believe we're now going to hear a little bit more from Melinda and her relationship with her instrument. So Melinda, do tell us a little bit more about your work and your instrument, your journey.
Okay, it's very similar to David. I mean, I grew up in a house with no musicians. I mean, my mum sang a bit and my dad played the jazz piano. But music was always on in the house. So we had jazz, we had classical, we had the lot. And for some reason, I was the black sheep in the family, and music drew me in. I don't know why it drew me in. But when I was 14, I played the piano from the age of 8, and then at 14 I heard this instrument. I heard it on the radio, and I was absolutely awestruck. I was listening to the sound and thinking, oh my God, I want to play this. What is it? And I didn't know about the reed scenario, which we have to make. We have to make these, which is a bit of a headache. But the sound of the oboe was something that I've always kept with me through the hard times, because there are dips when you're a musician. Sometimes things don't work, so you delete and move on. So for me, music is really important in my life. I can't imagine doing anything else. It's a vocation. It drew me in. I'm still learning. As you know, same with David, I'm meeting people, new people all the time. I did a jazz degree 10 years ago, which completely opened my ears and completely changed my life, actually. I was brought up on Bach and Mozart and Sibelius and Mahler and Schoenberg and Ligeti and Berio and Moderna and lots of contemporary music, which I love and I commission. So I like doing a lot of eclectic things because it matters. And BCMG is a fantastic group because we play music of our time and we do lots of collaborations. So, do you want to know about this instrument? Or shall I just do some playing?
It'd be great to see your improvisation.
Okay, well, let's... Right, I would like to find a note that we're all going to hum together in the room. Okay, so just find a note for me that's the same note. Same note.
Now, on your tables, you'll notice that we've left a few sort of resources that you can read and interact with, and on one of the things that you'll find is a map. I would love to know, what are your roots and your journeys? Feel free with the pens and paper to kind of mark, where do you come from? And when we answer that question, where do you come from, that can mean where you were born, where you feel like you're most connected to in life. It could be a linking line between those two parts of the world, so feel free to interact with that. But at the same time, on the Mentimeter, if you've got it open on your phone, we're asking you the question, what are your roots? What do you see as home? Where is home? So hopefully some of you will respond and we'll see your responses on the screen in front of us. We're seeing lots of responses come through. We've got people that are local, people that are quite further away. We've got people that are take a flight to get to where they're from. Lots of brilliant different responses, just showing us where we kind of go to from where we are on the route and how far we go out. I love that. Home is where the family is. you a couple more seconds if you want to add to that.
So as well as the map, you'll see images of roots and roots on your table. So feel free to draw your roots and roots on the images that you find as well. So feel free to decorate things that are on your table.
So next, I would like to invite two more people onto the stage. We have got Amrit Sohal, who is a musician specializing in the French horn, a workshop leader, a business owner. She once played in a flash mob on a train. And we also have Kirsty Devani, who is a composer, music educator, who ran a program for young composers for over a decade. Kirsty also is a talented rock climber and uses this as a way to deal with her arthritis. Can we have a huge round of applause for Kirsty and Amrit?
Is this on? Hello everybody. Pass this to Amrit. We're sort of doing a tag team approach because part of this project, it's been wonderful to be part of, so beautiful to, as creatives and musicians, we work a lot in educational spaces, which I absolutely love. It just fills me with joy. I find it really creative. It's just really nice to be a kind of creative again and think about my own journey, our own journeys, and we found lots of similarities, didn't we? So so we're just going to kind of share some of that and some of our journeys as well. But I've got a little task for you first. Oh, somebody just did a thumbs up on there. Thanks, whoever that was. I didn't know that was even possible. And Nancy, next slide, please. Oh, nice. Okay. So, if you could close your eyes, or lower your gaze to the floor, if you don't want to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to think of a composer. What do they look like? What sort of music are they composing and creating? How are they doing that? What are they doing? Are they on an instrument? Are they writing something? Are they working with other people? Okay, you can open your eyes. Okay. Give me your hands up if you thought something a bit like this. Oh, yeah, no, nice, honestly, great, that's fine. I mean, he is a composer. No, this is Mozart. He's a dude. But what do we think maybe some of the challenges are? If that's the image that comes to mind, that word composer, because I imagine if I said artist or dancer, you'd have a different image. What do you think some of the issues might be with that? And feel free to shout out. Past, yeah, it's in the past. Male. Yeah, historical. Male. Yeah, definitely. Any other thoughts? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it's absolutely fine if that's the image. And that's something that, for me as well, growing up, I never really saw living, I didn't know they were living people. I mean, I love this quote. For many, the creators of the classical music is a dead white man wearing a wig. It's a great quote, I love that. So I think for me, learning that composers can look different, compose in different ways, go beyond just classical genres as well. So we've got the next slide, yeah. So here's a whole collection of different music creators in all styles, and all these artists are pushing their genre, what they're doing in a certain way. They're all being creative. And I think that's something that really inspired me. So when I started studying at Birmingham Conservatoire, which is that way, somewhere, I was the only female in my year group, only female, one of the very few females in my whole department. So when I graduated, I wanted to do something about it, and I will tell you a little bit about that in a second. But yeah, so Amrit as well. I think we sort of had a shared kind of story about how we felt and how we felt represented in the things that we did. Yeah, do you want to tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up playing the French horn. It was the first instrument I learned to play properly, and I kind of stuck with it throughout my childhood. So I started learning my French horn in primary school, and then I grew up in Birmingham as well. I forgot to mention that. And then I learned with the music service all the way up until the end of secondary school. When I went to secondary school, like all the girls' school, which isn't far from here either. And then I went to fellow water girls, like I see you. And then I went to Birmingham Contemporary after that to study French horn. And when I got there, I was one of 3 people from the global majority in my undergraduate degree. And if I think about it now, actually, in my time there, I don't think I met another fellow South Asian female there with me. And so that really kind of sparked a desire in me to change something, because it felt quite isolating at times. And when sometimes you can't see yourself represented, you don't feel yourself seen, it can create some like negative feelings, and you don't always feel like you fit in or you belong. So then I decided I wanted to try and change that and move something forward. So I think I'm going to talk about what I did in a little bit. I'm going to pass it over to Kirsty in a second.
Yes, so we had some statistics as well that we found, so you can put that on the screen if you want to. Shall we go back to that one?
Yeah, so sorry. This image, I don't know if many of you remember it from around COVID times, when the government put out that Fatima's next drug being cyber. So she's a ballet dancer. And we just wanted to touch on this because a lot whether in the school, whether it's government and bigger institutions, we get this message a lot in the creative arts and the humanities that there isn't a point in us and what we do. And we just wanted to put this out there that yes, we do get this messaging, and we get it from so many different areas, but we are important as well. What we have to offer is really important. And so yeah, we'll go on to the statistics now. Did you want to?
Can I just add to that? Like, when that picture came out on the telly and everywhere else that it was shared, it came out during COVID, which was the same time when most arts organisations were given additional funding because they realised that without a lack of arts, there was a lot of mental health issues rising. So there's a mixed messaging that's just worth noticing at that time. On one hand, they're saying, reskill yourself, go into a different field. Dancing isn't right, you won't find any jobs there. But at the same time, they were paying people to help deal with an issue that was being caused as a result of COVID. So when you see that sort of image, make sure you do the additional research on what is happening at the same time in the world. Sorry, I just had to say that.
So we had some statistics that we thought would be useful to have here. So in 2011, in the British Composer Awards, only 4 out of 39 composers were female. In 2022, in the BBC Proms, they exceeded its 50% commissioning of female composers doing work, which is something to be great. 98.8% of pieces in the ABRSM syllabus, if you're not sure what ABRSM is, it's a music exam board, were written by white composers. In 2024, women are well represented in the 25 to 34 age category, so that's about 58.6%. But in the 45 to 54 age category, which is 46.6%, and 54 to 64, female representation starts to drop. And then in the 2024 UK Music Workforce Diversity Survey, the number of Black, Asian and ethnically diverse respondents aged 16 to 24 rose substantially. And in 2022, it was 40.6, in 2024, it was 40.6%. So some of those statistics are just really quite sad. It's just not great. But as we can see, it is getting better. Representation is increasing, and there are lots of organisations in Birmingham and beyond that are doing lots of work to get marginalised people from different communities into the arts and the humanities. Some of those include Black Lives in Music, advocates from SAMPAD, and as a local Birmingham organisation are doing really, really wonderful work. So many different organisations, BCMG. So there are avenues to help us get there.
Definitely. I was one of the 4 of the British composers in 2011. That's why that stat is there, because it's a bit of a random year, 2011. And I remember being like, oh my god, what the heck? Somebody made a mistake. I genuinely thought when I got the email, but I didn't know what the British composer was. I didn't know what awards were. I thought it was a mistake. And I went to the awards and I remember feeling like, what am I doing here? And I don't want want anybody to feel like that. And it has got better over the years, definitely. And we were really both passionate about doing something positive in this space. So the project that I set up 10 years ago is called the Young Composers Project. It's based in Birmingham Conservatoire, but it's for local young people, male and female and non-binary, to come together to create a community, because composing can be quite isolating. We're sort of often by ourselves, working away, getting lost in our own head. It can be really good to find other people and create that community and work together. So yeah, and it's all very much about sharing, trying things out, being experimental, thinking beyond genre. And what's been really lovely is over that 10 years, we've had lots of young people coming through. Some have gone on to universities, to conservatoires, gone into the music industry, not through higher education, or just had music as still part of what they do as well. And some friendships are still together, which is really lovely. Some are now my colleagues in the industry, which is wild. Makes me feel old. Yeah, so it's created that sort of real community sense and really impacted, I know in Birmingham Conservatoire, the diversity of the department there as well. So that's my project, the Young Composers Project. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you did?
Yeah, so as part of my in the conservatoire, you have a 4-year degree. As part of my final year, I created my company called Motherland Music CIC. And I created that because throughout my time at conservatoire, I realised that I hadn't learned about composers from the global majority, from ethnically diverse backgrounds, and it frustrated me, and I realised I didn't know about many composers or musicians from my own background, and that just didn't sit right. It felt really like uncomfortable, and I was just really like sad and angry about it, essentially. So I created Motherland Music CIC to run music workshops with children and young people, and all the composers and musicians we look at are from diverse backgrounds. And we run these workshops and guide the participants to compose their own pieces of music inspired by what we have done. And so the pictures you see here on the far left, we did an assembly in a school in Greater Heath in Sandwell. We looked at various different composers in that, and we ran some workshops after that assembly. And in the right, we went to, in 2022, Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery. We were part of the We Are Birmingham exhibition. And again, celebrated, different composers, but for that one specifically because it was about Birmingham. We tried to include like lots of Birmingham composers in there as well. So that's kind of my reason why I created that.
Yeah, do you want me to introduce it? Hello everybody. So one of the projects that we do at Birmingham Contemporary Music Group is BCMG, Young Composers. And we have some composers here. Give us a little wave, like, ooh, hey, Dr. So we're going to be sharing 5 short pieces. We had 14 pieces yesterday, so they're hot off the press. Some of them were composed yesterday, so it's really nice to be able to share with you. So we have Mendy and Max up over there, who are just going to set up. So the students were tasked to compose for these musicians and with these musicians. So we have the tabla, and then we have Ben Story. It might be nice if you could just tell us a little bit about your instruments, just very, very briefly.
I can do that. Right, I probably need 2 hands. Hello, everybody. It's been amazing to be part of this project, working with the young composers, and it's been very interesting to be directed to do this, that, and not in the traditional way. But I'd like to give you a demonstration of what the traditional side of this instrument and how they worked around the traditional notation and the different aspects of this drum and the playing style. So I started playing when I was around 3 years old, because music was in our family and all my older brothers played. And when we learned how to play this instrument, we eventually learned how to play all the different notes. So I will just go through the different sounds that we can produce. And the first sound is called ta. Tin, tun, tete, tere, tik, tak, ti, na, ni. So we use our different fingers and different positions of our hands to produce the sounds. And on the bass tabla we have the notes ge, gu, ge, 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 ke, ka, ta. And then I'll play you a little solo. It'll just be a minute long. Actually, 30 seconds. Then we put these sounds together, and we can sing the rhythms and compositions like this.
I'm Max, I'm a flute player, and these are bansuri, Indian bamboo flutes, with many thousands of years of history, like the wooden flutes that have developed across the world in most cultures. The idea of, I think, finding a tube and putting some holes in it and being able to make it vibrate by blowing into it is a really common one. So it's really interesting to sort of see these instruments and see their history developing almost in parallel right across the globe. I'm experiencing that because I begun my life playing the metal classical flute, and across my studies and then lucky enough to work in playing music, I've fallen in love with different folk flutes across the way, Chinese, Irish, Indian, South American, and have been fortunate to learn as I play with them, and as we all do continue to learn through playing music. So I consider myself a lifelong pupil of an instrument like the bansuri, and it's blown much like the Western flute. It has a different sort of, it has a more limited scale perhaps because you just have 6 finger holes as opposed to all the keys, but you can manipulate the holes in many different ways. And of course, one of the interesting things about it is it comes in many shapes and sizes, from very low ones to much smaller and higher ones. And it's fantastic working with the young composers on these pieces to present them with how, obviously along the tabla, how this instrument works, the different sorts of strengths and weaknesses and with it, and to open up the sound to them and see what's grabbed them and what they came away with, whether it was something that sounded very traditional or was just something totally unique to the notes that they heard in their heads.
Great. Well, so we're going to hear first by Simran, her piece. She couldn't make it today, but I'll put her programme there. Can everybody read that? Yeah, great. Cool. So we'll start with Simran's piece.
Tune it.
Just while we're tuning, Simran played her violin in this piece, but Simran couldn't make it today. So the French horn is a violin today. So
It's a world first for this one.
I was going to say, I don't think we've ever seen this combination of instruments before. So I think this is a world first, everybody. such a lovely story. And thank you, Amber, for being a violin. Next we've got Aria, who is going to tell a little bit about how she composed her piece.
Hi, my name is Aria, and I composed my piece, and it's called Above the Clouds. And I composed all my piece just yesterday because for the last few rehearsals I composed a piece that took me quite a long time, but I got the time signature, which is a rather important part of my piece. So I thought that I could maybe base it on something else. So I thought that you can always see things in front of you. There are always lots of things going on around you, and I think that inspired the piece quite a bit. So that's why I called it Above the Clouds, because you can see directly, but you can also see above. Thank you.
It was very tricky writing this piece since I didn't actually know what to do and go from procrastination. But you know, I did get there with like the help of the teachers around me and from the ideas that people gave. And I really do hope you enjoyed this piece.
You want to get a bit closer?
Yeah.
Yeah, be right. Go on that way. Okay.
Let's do this one.
We haven't rehearsed this today. We did it yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a musician, right? We're just being flexible and just going with it. It's a big deal. ovation. I think that's us done, and then I think there's some questions now, so I'm going to hand back to Bobby.
So one of the big topics that we kept referring to is belonging. And I've got a question back to everyone in the audience, and bring back the Mentimeter. But the question I want to ask is, do you feel like you see people like you in your Arts and Humanities school curriculum? And for those who aren't in school anymore, obviously, did you feel like when you were growing up, did you see people like you, with your backgrounds, being represented as the people who you were learning about? Were your stories being told? It's an interesting mix. I'm going to move on to the next question on. We've got QR code in the way. What messages about careers in the arts and humanities have you received directly from friends, family members, school friends, or others? So when the topic of a career in the arts comes up, what's the kind of things that people say to you, or have said to you? I've had that one before, get a proper job. There's no money in it, it's not reliable, it's a waste of time. Ooh, that one hurts, do a STEM subject. Are you sure that's what you want to do? It's not stable. Ooh, do you know what? When I had to hear that from my family members, are you sure? It's like, this is the most sure I've ever been. Limited jobs and career prospects. How are you going to make a living? It's really interesting because there's millions of jobs in the creative sector, and there's jobs that many people have never heard about. And a lot of young people grow up thinking it's acting, it's singing, it's dancing, it's playing an instrument, but there are hundreds of backstage roles where, let's say you want to be someone who is very interested in art and design, you could be a scenic designer for a theatre. If you're someone who is really good at maths, you could be a set designer and build sets, and it might not be anything to do with front-facing audience performances, but it's just worth saying that there are so many jobs out there, and with any platform that you choose to go into, any career path, if you want to be successful, you have to grind at it. You have to want it, absolutely. But I like the one at the top where someone said, do what you love. I enjoy that. That's the kind of parent I hope to be in the future. Shall we move on? So I'm going to bring back Amrit, Pointy and Mendy to the stage to do a little improvisation they've created.
I'm just going to chat a little bit about this improvisation. So this also stems a little bit from me wanting to explore my own cultural heritage with the skills that I have. So I grew up playing the French horn, which is used in Western classical music, and I grew up learning Western classical music. And then as I got older, I really wanted to explore like my ancestral roots more, because I felt like there was a disconnect between that part of myself and like the musical skills that I got. So my family came from the Punjab in India. So my grandparents immigrated from India to Kenya, and then from Kenya to here in the 1960s. And so we have a long lineage, and I think this is something that I wanted to do to try and explore that. So we're going to do some improvising with some rags, and just wanted to say that it's not very strictly in the rag. It's kind of me using that as inspiration with my horn and with wonderful musicians with me as well.
Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a quiz now. We've asked you about some of your opinions, but let's see what you feel about the questions we ask in front, and let's see if you can get the answer correct as well. So, how many members of, let's say, the government in general, however you want to define that, how many members of government staff do you feel like graduated with a science degree? And do you want to be specific to the 26 members of Keir Starmer's cabinet? What number would you say? We're going to give you about 10 seconds. Okay, so the answer is 2. There are only 2 people with a science degree. We're going to move forward. How many members of that same cabinet do you feel like have an arts, humanities or social sciences degree? Again, I'll give you a couple of seconds to answer that one. And we'll give you the answer now. The answer is 23. 23 people who, I feel like I'm forcing my opinion here, but 23 people who won't back young people to pick up arts careers and subjects, but they will all use their expertise in the arts to be as good as they can be when it comes to political speaking. Have we got a comment here? Yes?
Got a question.
Go ahead.
So, my question is, we found out that only 2 of them did the sciences. So how many of them actually did the humanities and how many did the arts?
We don't have an answer for that. But with a bit of research, I'm sure you will find out. But it's just interesting just to know that there's just the benefits that we get from some of these courses, they're rarely ever highlighted. We're going to move on to the next question. I don't know if you have another question. That is it for the quiz, guys. Well done if you got 100% of the quiz. So, as we said, the theme of that we're sort of focusing on right now is belonging, and I'm very, very excited to introduce our next artist, Rhys Amos, Rhys Amos is a theatre maker, a composer, a singer, songwriter. Keep clapping, he's got loads of accolades. He's a former associate at Birmingham Opera Company. He's just started a business that's twinned with South Africa. He used to be a karate fighter for the England national team and used to play American football for the England national team. Rhys, tell us a little bit more.
First and foremost, what was all that clapping stuff? Oh, great, thank you guys. You've really helped me to drill home my belonging piece now. I feel like I don't actually belong. Before I go into anything I'm going to say, your name, young brother, Jaysha.
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you something. This young brother is the exact reason why I do what I do. So, what, you left your guitar at home?
Yeah.
Cool. So his piece is guitar, he left his guitar at home. I'm in the space, I play guitar, I have my guitar with me. I want to tell you that it was an honor for me to lend my guitar to you so that you could go and show the people this. I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart because you, how cheesy am I? I'm about to say it though. You remind me of a young me. Sorry, my apologies. But genuinely, to be bold enough to still come into the space, to be ready to do something, how dare I not allow you or facilitate that opportunity? So well done to you, young brother. And that's, oh God, I'm going to do it again. That's the segue to belonging. We are here now. So yes, I'm very interested in that Keir Starmer and the cabinet point that was made, because I agree with you, man. It's interesting that these people that have picked up humanities and arts are not necessarily the ones who are helping young people shape that type of future, and actually sometimes veering the culture of the infrastructure away from that. So it's actually part of the issue. I personally come from a background where I experienced with you guys earlier, right, didn't I? That dichotomy, i.e. two things can be very true at any one given time. So I come from an area called Newtown. Does anybody know where Newtown is? Those of you who are nodding your heads, those of you shaking your heads, you know exactly what connotations come with Newtown, right? Yeah, and I was around when those connotations were at their highest. And sort of had one foot in, one foot out, but I was really academic and really loved the arts. But I just wasn't, quote unquote, allowed to do both. You just went, oh, I'm either going to lose some street credibility, or I'm not astute enough to be the academic I wanted to be. And so I played this game of traversing these two sort of worlds and becoming a completely different person in each arena. Coming back to the block and I'm pretending to the boys that I've just gone to a football match, when really I've just gone back from an operatic rehearsal. Because to them, all I was doing was dancing. That's what they said, but bear in mind, I'm not dancing enough person, you're already when you got it wrong. But to them, so what you could dance over football, bro? Like, is this what we're doing? But then on the other side, I didn't feel like I could bring what was my culture into that arena either, because there was a particular way to operate within that system. And so I struggled for years to try and create these new narratives and become a code switcher, and I mastered code switching, and I was able to speak with the Lord there and articulate myself in a particular way that kind of said, oh, this young black boy knows how to speak. That was one of the responses I got. Of course I knew how to speak before that. So what are you trying to get at? I want to do a social experiment in this space. Is that okay? Yeah, we've got a little bit of time, so I'm going to do this. There's a gentleman in front of me, I don't know your name, and I don't want to tap you on the shoulder because it's very rude. Would you mind just skirting your chair to the side, please? Thank you. Now, earlier on, David and Melinda played a wonderful piece up there. I cheekily recorded David playing the piano. I'm going to ask Amrita, can you come up here and record some French horn, please? Cool. So, What we are now going to do is I'm going to record some French horn because I want you guys to have no context whatsoever as to what or why she's recording. Okay? You got your phones in? So she's responding to something. You guys have no idea what that something is, okay? Brilliant. You guys confused yet? I hope so. No context. So the idea, thank you, Emily, that was beautiful. So the context of that is no context for you guys. That's an individual voice that's doing something that makes no sense in the space right now, right? Can I get Kirsty, please, to come and record a little of your flirts? That'd be amazing. Right, then bear with me, I am going somewhere with this. Ready? Thank you very much. Right, so we've had two individual voices come and make an impact individually, but there's no context at all to what those individual voices are doing. So I told you guys I came up from Newtown, right? I told you that I was trying to straddle these two worlds. Now one of the things that I tried to do after that was, instead of trying to be 50% of one and 50% of the other, what did it look like to be 100% who I am and create a third space where what is true of one world can also be true of the other world? Now, for me, that meant being brave, being bold, stepping into a new arena with a vulnerability, but also saying, I want to be able to do this so that people like Jay can come forward afterwards and be like, can I borrow your guitar? Okay? So with those individual voices that you just heard, and with some of the recordings that we heard from earlier on, what you can do in this third space is make something that is completely out of context sound like beautiful harmony.
Feeling like you have a place somewhere, or if an object belongs to you.
To have a community in which I feel a part.
Belonging means to me having a sense of well-being inside a community or society or world.
What happens if whilst we're doing this we add more and more layers? David, do you want to drop the keys? Amrita, Pointy, Kirsty, please, guys come. And we had more interests, we had more layers, we had more individuality, with a sensitivity, with an awareness, with an ear, with a heart for the same thing, and you end up with something like this. group of individuals have been able to come together to create something that's harmonious, that isn't ostracizing, that's inclusive, but also speaks the language, a common language that we're all able to understand and share with each other. And I think for me, that is exactly what belonging is. Is that a long way of answering your question?
Follow-up question is, how do you help those who feel like they won't belong when it comes to this industry?
You let them borrow your guitar. I mean, you let them borrow your guitar. I didn't see many like myself, and the ones that I didn't share a background as such. So I was never able to ask them how they got there, because they felt untouchable. They sort of morphed into these new spaces that I wanted to be part of. And so I don't ever want to feel untouchable, which is why I was saying weirdly beforehand, this clapping thing was odd, because I was like, yo, I'm not a superstar, like it's mad. However, I do appreciate that when you pioneer something brand new, you also have to relinquish the credit sometimes, because the only person really who validates a pioneer's new move is the first follower. Otherwise it doesn't become relevant until somebody follows that movement. And so I encourage you young guys who are trying to get into these arenas, don't be scared to pioneer something new from outside of your circles. You may not get the love or the recognition that you may be looking for outwardly, but you know inwardly you're making a difference to somebody else's future, and we call that paying it forward. Is that fair?
That is fair. Guys, on the screen there's a question in terms of what does belonging mean to you. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to keep moving forward, but as we move on to the next bit, if you could put your responses, and I'd love to see how they appear on the screen in front of me as we carry on the very last final bit.
So whilst you're doing that, guys, I'm also going to say, if you were listening to Bavik earlier on, he said something about he's just the person that's helping to pass the baton to everybody. Now, in the spirit of belonging, I also want to encourage everybody in the space that you bring more to the table than you believe you do. Bavik, I've known Bavik for years now. I know he is much more than a conduit who passes a baton. Not to say that there isn't a necessity for that, but he is not acknowledging what he brings to the table. So we are going to put him on his heels right now. Bavik, we would love to hear what you have to say from your artistic perspective. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah? So can we get a round of applause for Bav, please? Come on, bro.
So, unlike my fellow superstars in the room, my instrument is my voice. So what I've tried to do is put together the kind of things that we talked about over the last couple of weeks, and this is what I've got to say. They tell us to know where you're going, but rarely ask where you began. They cheer for the ones who crossed the line, but not the ones who taught us how to stand. This is for the grandmothers who carried courage like breath, for the forefathers who worked through the night and still said, be more than me, beta, Betty, go be your best. But they dreamt for me. Want me to fit in with the rest? Go be a doctor, be an engineer. The arts won't pay the bills, better think clear. Now we're here, in the in-between, caught between pride and a dream, between this version of us they want to see and the version that burns quietly, dancing in mirrors, writing poetry, wishing their mindset would grow with me. We call it the third space, a place where we code switch our tongues and twist our names just to make them fit in frames they were never made for. At home, our words move into two worlds, two tongues, two rhythms, two twirls, two hearts beating in one mouth. We switch like second nature, north-south, from mum to ma, from yeah to ha, from English essays to their mother tongue lullabies. But somewhere along the way, I'll terrify myself to pull that language out. Like it's something to hide, not shout, when really it's a superpower. Something we've trained our brains to do, to think, translate, and feel in more than one language, your real point of view. So why is it so hard to let our true voice fly, to speak at home or lift it high? Why do we hide beneath a borrowed guise, smooth the edges, soften our cries, just to escape the judgments that we supply. Your roots into this world, your roots in this earth, both are stories of struggle and worth, both are rhythm, both are art, proof you've been powerful. Right from the start, you belong here. In the beat, in the light, on the stage, in the sketch, on a mic at night, you belong wherever your fire burns strong, not just where they say you fit or belong. See, we talk about equality like everyone starts on the same line, but equity knows some of us climb uphill, in mud, with weights on our backs, still running, still shining, refusing to crack. We need representation so the next kid can say, I see her, she looks like me, I can be that one day. Because you can't be it if you can't see it, and the dream dies fast when no one believes it. I won't lie, being brave, being different is brave, and bravery sometimes feels like standing in waves, but look around. Right here, right now, you've got people in your corner saying, breathe, stand proud. You've got global voices behind you, writers, musicians, directors too. Women, men, non-binary dreamers who flipped every you can't into stage light beamers. In fact, only 34% of leaders worldwide are women. That's true, but that number is rising, and that next step could be you. Across the country's top companies, only 6% of leaders look like me. 6 out of 100, that's the score. We're not asking for favours, just an open door, because change begins when someone says, I'll go first. When courage weighs more than the fear of the worst, if you're thinking, I'm not posh enough, not from the right class, don't look the right way, don't fit their glass, remember, the ones who change the world were never built to blend in. They were born to stand out. Speak your heritage, don't hide it, it done it. Your accent, that's rhythm, recite it. Your skin's not a warning, it's a story. Your roots aren't shame, they're glory. Thank you very much. So just a big final thank you to BCMG, to University of Birmingham, to Nancy, to Simon, and to all of the artists who've worked together and who've shared their vulnerabilities to put on this showcase for you. But as we said, all we're trying to do is inspire the next generation of louder voices than us. Thank you all so much for attending today. Thank you.